not here for me. We're here for this young lady. Put your hands together for Miss Katee Sackhoff. Any Starbuck fans here?
Grab your gun and bring in the cat, huh?
I'm old school. I remember you from Longmire.
Oh, there you go.
Longmire,
It wasn't that long ago. I'm not that old.
Oh my gosh. You know, when I was a kid, I watched the original BSG, the very first one. So when they did the new one, and they said they're gonna have a female Starbuck, I honestly, to be perfectly honest, I was like, no, I will not accept that. And then you show up, and then you start brawling with people on screen. You're all over the place. I'm like, okay, I can accept that. So, thank you for your portrayal.
Of course. I feel like that's what most people did, though. You know, like anytime you change something that's beloved by so many people, it's, you know, it takes a while to open up your mind potentially to something new. So.
Yes. If you look at the Star Trek world, original series Star Trek, and then TNG came on with the bald captain, Captain Picard, and people said, I'm not going to stand for a bald captain. Little did they know, Shatner was already bald then, so it's true.
We just talked about this on my podcast, actually. Jonathan Frakes was on, and we just talked all about how TNG, like, it wasn't what people wanted, and it wasn't what the studio really wanted, and how they sort of came to that, and it was a really cool conversation.
Well, I heard that you have a podcast, and I heard you had Jonathan on there, and I also heard that you asked Jonathan, how do I get on Star Trek? Am I right? Because you covered it all. BSG, Star Wars, and what's your...
Marvel, DC,
Marvel,
I covered
DC,
it all, like voiceover, for real,
Yeah.
Yeah, I covered it all. Like, Star Trek is, I really want, like, the hat trick.
If you were able to pick and choose what type of role you would be on Star Trek, what would you like to do?
Oh my God. Well, I mean, selfishly, I want to be the captain. I mean, you know, but I think, like, I don't know, like, I'd say something, and, like, I was in love with Bill when I was little. I thought I could marry him. Little did I know he was, like, 40 years older than me, and I was watching reruns. But I, like, loved him, and I loved that character, and Starbuck was so much like him that, like, maybe he's a bit more suave than Starbuck, so, I don't know. It'd be fun to just, like, have a character that's very...
Okay.
I don't know, bring a little sexy into the universe.
Right. You could be the daughter of a captain.
I could.
No, hear me out. What if Katee Sackhoff was one of the salamander babies of Captain and Tom Paris? Look at her face. This is Kate Mulgrew and Robbie McNeil right here. Look at the blonde hair, look! Okay, so I think that
I will act the crap out of a salamander baby.
Let's go through some of these questions here. Okay. Katee, what would you say is the best part of playing pronounce your character name here?
Bo-Katan. Everyone always like tries to fancy her up and they call her Bo-Katan.
I was gonna say Katan.
I'm like, he ain't that fancy, guys.
Yes. Okay, Bo-Katan in live action compared to voicing her in Clone Wars and Rebels. Please compare that. That's from Lucky's question.
You know, it's a completely different medium, you know. When you are in the sound booth doing voiceover work, or when I am, my goal is to really interpret what the director wants, you know. They give me the direction, I follow that direction. I'm not really bringing too much of my own desires to the character because it really is their vision. When I pulled her into live action, or when she was pulled into live action, that first season, so season 2, I really just wanted to not screw up. Because I didn't want to disappoint anyone. I had like so much pressure on me. And so I really handled it very much like a voiceover job. What does Dave want? What does Jon Favreau want? Like, how do I fit in this world? Season 3 came along and I just sort of like ripped the Band-Aid off and was like, I'm gonna sort of do what I want to do now since I'm here so much. And that's when I really got to bring in sort of who I wanted Bo to be and who I thought she was and the journey that I thought she'd been on with everything that she'd been through in her life. So I had a lot more control in season 3 than I did in voiceover. And you know, in voiceover you're only using your voice, you know, it's you're very limited. So it's much like when I put the mask on, I love it because I can move my face and I can like be Katie under the helmet because I'm not allowed to do that as Bo-Katan. She doesn't move as much as I do.
Got it. All right, a fun or memorable time filming on The Mandalorian from Chris Harper.
Oh gosh, I mean it's all fun and memorable. You know, I have so many fun memories working with Brendan Wayne. Brendan Wayne is one of the men who wear the suit. We've talked about this many times. I've talked about this, that there are many women that have worn Bo-Katan's suit. We put the best person in the suit for what's required in the moment because it's all creating this wonderful character. And if there's a stunt performer that is more proficient at something than I could ever be, it would not do the character service for me to try to do it. So the same is with Mando, and I work with Brendan Wayne a lot. And Brendan is, I don't know if you all have seen Brendan or met Brendan or watched an interview with Brendan. Brendan's crazy. And he and I have so much fun together because we take our job seriously, but we don't take anything else seriously. And so we have lots of funny moments. There's the scene on the front of the boat. I call it my Our Titanic moment, when he tells Bo that I will follow you. And I did that with Brendan, and he kissed Bo-Katan through the helmet. It was really funny. So we ship them too. Or at least we do. I mean, you guys might not, but we do. I do.
Okay, this is back to Star Trek. This is from Maury. Maury says, you've expressed interest in Star Trek. If you could pick your species/race of alien, what would you pick? You talked about being a captain, but you can be a human captain, a Vulcan captain, a Klingon captain, a Romulan captain. What would you be?
Anything that didn't require makeup time.
Human captain. Or a Bajoran captain. That's about it. So,
yeah, that's it.
Yeah, a little thing here or nothing, right?
Or nothing.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. I mean, you could give me some ears or something.
Yeah. Oh, you would do. So you'd be Vulcan then.
I could be Vulcan.
Okay.
But I'm not shaving my eyebrows.
Who shaves their eyebrows?
I feel like Zachary Quinto shaved his eyebrows.
Oh, the end of it. So yes.
Yeah.
But not the whole eyebrow.
No,
Part
just
of
the end. No, you guys.
You're not gonna do that.
Don't pluck your eyebrows. They don't grow back. Don't do it.
So Ethan Peck is forever gonna have half an eyebrow? Is that what
Well,
you're saying?
maybe not like fully,
Right.
but you know, I mean, if you want something to happen over and over and over again, like they say, to be an expert, you need 10,000 hours. You just pluck 10,000 hairs and it won't grow back.
Wow.
So, you know what I'm saying? Like, leave it alone. Leave it alone.
Okay. Have you done any roles with massive prosthetics at all?
Not massive, but for Oculus, I had to be in a lot of prosthetic. I had to have prosthetic, but I had to have fake eyes, like bloody eyes.
Whoa. Contacts.
And
right?
contacts, and I had like scrapes all down my face that were all prosthetics, and they were all over my chest, everything. And I had a panic attack, and I had to go to the emergency room.
Oh, claustrophobic kind of
Yeah,
thing?
because we were working with kids, and the kids had to be shot out, so I had to sit in this stuff till like 4 in the morning. And it was awful.
Yeah.
And I made it through the day, everything was fine, and then I got back to the hotel after they'd taken it off, and I had a panic attack there.
So it wasn't even on you any longer?
No.
It was like a residual effect.
It was so weird.
That is bizarre.
It was so weird, yeah.
Do you think it was because you held it in because of working with the kids that you didn't want to freak out subconsciously, and then all of a sudden, now you're back at the hotel, and that's when it happened?
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
What did the hospital say when you went over there?
That I hyperventilated and had a panic attack.
I get that.
Yeah, I mean, beyond
That's
that. They gave me some oxygen, and then
And that was the end of it.
sent me home. Yeah, the poor transpo guy that had to sit with me all night.
He's looking at his watch going, oh
he's
my
like,
God.
oh, Jesus, fucking actors.
I missed dinner.
Right? It's such a hard life. Panic attack.
Any plans for a Longmire sequel with you as the main character?
You guys, we have tried so hard to bring this show back. The cast, we love each other. We love the show. We love the characters. We have tried so hard and they just won't do it. And we don't know why. Because there's an audience there we don't understand. They just won't do it. The fan base is there. We're all so confused.
Very frustrating. Yep.
Robert Taylor has a new show on Netflix though that is like a Western. It's supposed to be Australia's answer to Yellowstone, so check it out.
But what was it like, this is from Colleen, what was it like reuniting with so many of your BSG co-stars in Chicago earlier this weekend? Is that where you were?
Friday, that's
oh
where
my
I went.
goodness. Who was there? Who all was there for that reunion?
Everyone. Everyone but Aaron Douglas. He pissed off Creation, so they wouldn't have him back. He'll be there next year, though. They just made him sit in timeout for a while.
Is that public knowledge?
I think it's public knowledge.
It is now.
It's Aaron Douglas. I mean, it's not hard to believe. Aaron has he says what he wants to say when he wants to say it. You know what I mean?
So he's very outspoken.
He's very outspoken. He didn't like the way that they were running an event here, and he let them know.
And they said, bye-bye, forever.
You're not welcome. But we'll be there next year. It was wonderful. It was, I don't know if anyone knows sort of like what's been going on with Michael Hogan, but a few years ago, Michael Hogan had a head injury, and his care has been extensive. And it was the first time that many of us had seen him since. He lives in a care facility, and he and his wife flew out for the event. It was a large undertaking to get him out because he as you can imagine, traveling with a person with a disability through a plane, and they hadn't done it for a while. So it was beautiful to see him, and we raised, I think they said, was it $46,000 for his care?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, there is nothing like the sci-fi community. You give the sci-fi community a task and they will come out in hordes to make something happen. And his care is completely funded by fan donation through his GoFundMe for many years. And he was the breadwinner for his family, and he can't work anymore. So he is, but he's still got that XO spark, if you will.
Wow. Yeah, I remember hearing the news about that because the last time I saw him, I was moderating a panel that he was on, and this was pre-accident, and met his wife at that point. Love him, and to hear that, it's horrible. It really is. There's nothing else. But could you still converse with him in Chicago? What was the level of?
You can.
Yeah.
You can. It's been a while since I've seen Michael, and we don't see each other every day, so it took a while for him to remember me, but as soon as he did, he went Starbuck. It was really beautiful.
Oh my gosh. Okay, here's another question. What was your experience like working on Big Bang Theory from Teresa?
It was crazy. I mean, George Takei is great. He's just wonderful.
Okay, let me just correct you very quickly.
Is it Takei?
Yes, because he always says, it's decay, rhymes with gay. So you will never forget from this day forward. Decay rhymes with, hello Katie.
I will never forget George Takei.
Decay rhymes with gay. Just remember me doing the voice for you.
So
Thank you. Okay, talk to me about it.
Thank you for correcting me, by the way.
You're welcome.
It was so funny. When I met George, because I mean, like I said, I grew up watching Star Trek, and I was so excited. And the moment I met him, we just had this wonderful moment because we were both in our costumes. It was so weird, and we were laughing. And I said, and he goes, "You look amazing." And I said, "Thank you so much." And Sci-Fi does not know I stole my costume. And he goes, "My dear, they don't know I stole this either." think he flipped his cape. And it was a very funny moment. We had so much fun together, and I loved doing that. I loved playing myself, like a caricature of myself. It was just hysterical. It was so much fun. It was so much fun.
I once saw George doing a Q&A, and he was talking about a trip he took to this really, amazing resort in Colorado with his husband Brad, and he was like, there we were in Colorado. It was an amazing resort, the beautiful views, the amazing food. But the one thing that I enjoyed most about that resort was the shower. Because that shower was glorious.
But it is one of the first things that I look at when I go to a hotel now is the bathroom.
Yeah, me too.
Because my daughter, her favorite thing in the world to do is, Mommy, I want to take a showie. I want to take a showie. And what that means is she sits on the floor with the water on her for an hour. We literally moved to Oregon so I would have no more guilt about hour-long showers. She takes bath bombs in the shower. So now I look at showers every hotel I go to because I'm like, oh, Jenny would love this shower.
It's not even about being cleaned. It's just about sitting under the water falling on her head for an hour.
Yes.
And she loves that.
She plays with her characters. She takes her Barbies in. She's crazy.
Oh my
She's crazy.
God.
But we live in Oregon now, it's fine. It rains all the time.
So you moved back to your home state. Is that right? Isn't that where you're from?
It is where I'm from. Yeah.
Oh. It's a beautiful state.
Because it rains all the time.
Yeah. I can tell you a very funny story. At UCLA, during my first freshman year, my parents had moved to Northern California, and I was driving there from LA, and I kept seeing signs for Portland, and I kept going, Portland, California? I had passed where I had to go, and I was heading to Oregon. And I missed their home in the Bay Area. I went the wrong way. I'm sorry. I went there, I went home, and on the way back to LA, I went the wrong way. So I was going towards Oregon instead of back to LA, like an idiot. And I said, this city of Portland, California must be huge. I keep seeing signs for it. I'm so stupid, Anyway.
Never eat soggy waffles.
All right. What was it like?
Okay, cars back then did not have GPS.
No, there was no GPS back then.
No, you were like, which direction?
No navigation. I know. This generation now that's growing up, they don't even understand what it's like to not have navigation, to have to use a map and a grid and to show where you're going. It's ridiculous.
I loved my Thomas guide.
Yes, the Thomas Brothers guide. Yes.
I loved it.
Oh,
and you knew where you went all the time because that page fell out.
Oh,
all the time. You were like, there it is in page 435. What is on 435?
But that's what you would tell people, like, we're going to page 435, section C3, like you have a little grid there.
Yeah, you're like playing Battleship every day.
Every day. What was it like shifting from Battlestar Galactica to a contemporary Western to the Star Wars universe?
Oh my God. Well, the good thing is that that spanned many, many, many years. So after Battlestar, I knew that I could not do sci-fi again for a long time. Because I was like, that show was so good in my opinion, and people loved it so much. I was like, I need a break from sci-fi. So I was looking for something that wasn't that. And Longmire came along, and at their core, what those shows both were just dramas, and the backdrop was space or a Western or whatever it is. And the story of Longmire and the story of Vic I found so compelling, and I wanted to live in that world for a while. And that was the easiest transition because Vic was the closest I've ever played to myself. Transitioning to Star Wars is, it's insane. I'm still I still pinch myself that I was in Star Wars. You know what I mean? I think it's that first moment, I think my father realized I was gonna be okay, because my dad was never thought, as a parent, you just don't want your child to try something you've never done because you don't know how to help them, you know? So my parents were always like, are you sure you want to do this whole acting thing? And I think Star Wars, when my dad came to set season 2, I think that was like the first time where my dad was like, oh, I think she's made it, she'll be fine. And I was like, I've only been doing this for 20 years. And he was like, well, you made it, kid.
So Battlestar did not register in your dad's consciousness?
No, little show up in Canada. He'd never seen it. I mean, he knew Starbuck was a guy, you know, he sort of saw it, but he wasn't like a huge fan of it. You know?
I just love that your dad thought Battlestar was some little Canadian public access show that came on in the late afternoon. Oh my God. Are you familiar with the show Portlandia?
I am.
Okay. One of my favorite episodes is when the lead characters watch Battlestar Galactica and they get so hooked on it that they forget to go to work, they don't pay their bills, their electricity goes off, and the fact that you're from Oregon and they're all, was that amazing? Did you think that was cool when you saw that?
It was, and I was so offended they didn't ask me to be in it. I was so angry that I was like, I'm sorry, what? They asked who? Like, they know I'm from there, right? So, supposedly, what had happened was, I had just had my thyroid taken out, and I was slowly sort of recovering. And my manager didn't want to tell me that they called to ask because I wasn't in a place to go work, and he didn't want me to feel bad about it. So he just so they sent me so much Portlandia stuff because they felt so bad that I didn't know. So I still have a Portlandia sweatshirt. It's 3 sizes too small, and I don't even care. I still wear it. Yeah.
Yeah, you should have been on it. My gosh.
I know.
Oh my God. It's a funny show though, right?
Yeah, it's super funny. And it's very Portland. You guys, Portland is so weird.
It is.
You know that slogan, like, keep Portland weird? It doesn't need to be as weird as it is. I'm like, you guys, we don't need to be this weird. Like, when this is the thing that people know, they know Oregon is like, oh, y'all are weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're weird. And it's so weird, and we're turning into weird. Like, I saw my husband wearing his Birkenstocks with socks the other day. And I was like, stop it. Stop it. We're not weird.
We're not going there.
We're not weird. And then our child comes out, like, dressed like a dragon. She's, like, ready to go to the grocery store. And I'm like, oh, fuck me, we're weird.
I visited Portland for the first time about 15 years ago, and I fell in love with that city. And I currently moved from Los Angeles to Las Vegas, where I currently live.
Yes.
But if I leave Las Vegas, I'm going to go probably to Portland. It's my next stop. I love that city.
It's really beautiful.
Yep.
And it's like it went through some you know, some crap during the pandemic, and you know, but Portland is such a beautiful city, and there is something so stunning about the industrial landscape of the river's edge, mixed with these beautiful modern buildings. It's just like stunning. It's so stunning. But it is. Don't let anyone tell you it's safer than crap now. So come visit.
There you go. All right, on The Flash, if your character had stayed on the show, how would you have expanded on her story? Or do you have a funny behind-the-scenes story from your time on The Flash set? Stephanie.
Guys, I loved my character on The Flash. When they asked me what I wanted to do with her, because they offered me the role, and they said, what do you want to do? And I said, I want to make her British. And they were like, why? And I was like, I don't know, why not? And they said, okay, well, like, from where? Like, what accent do you want to do? And I went, all of them. All of them at once. I want it to be Dick Van Dyke-ish. And they were like, why? And I said, because I think she's from Clearwater, Florida. Like, what would you do if, like, you got hit by a gamma ray and you were like, oh, you have superpowers, but you also were a villain because you were like, now I'm going to go after people that, like, you know, threw me over. You would be British. Because all the good villains are British. You know what I mean? So that's what I did. I made her from Clearwater, Florida. They wrote it into the script that she's from Florida, and she was just pretending to be British. And so I loved it so much. And she had this one line at one point that, like, you are my favorite henchman, or you're my second favorite henchman, and what happened to the first favorite henchman? And I was like, he had a kid. So I think it would be really funny if I wanted to do an episode, I was pitching this to them, of an entire episode with her just holding a baby. And like, we don't mention it, the baby's crying, maybe it's in a Bjorn, we don't know. And then finally they're like, what is this? And she's like, he needed a babysitter. You know? He was available and I needed a babysitter and I just took his kid. It's not that he just, you know, give him some milk and pat him on the ass, he's fine. Just terrible accent. As bad as you can make it, just perfect.
Let's talk about accents. What is your go-to accent?
Southern.
Southern?
It is Southern because I dated a man from Louisiana.
Oh my.
And
bless his heart.
Yes. Love your hair, hope you win.
You say love your hair, hope you win?
Yes. So
what is that from?
So it's beauty pageants.
Oh. Okay.
So Southern Belle beauty pageants would say to each other, oh, I love your hair, I hope you win. And what that means is, you go frack yourself. But I do say bless your heart a lot. Oh,
bless your heart.
Oh, bless your heart. But I do, I immediately go Southern, and I don't even, I just do. Like
okay.
And I do it all the time. Like right now.
I spent 8 years in Memphis, Tennessee, so when I get very tired or if I'm drunk, Southern comes out. So.
That's with me too.
Yes.
All the time.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Who is your dream podcast guest that you have not had yet? Who would you like to get on your podcast?
Sigourney Weaver.
Oh.
Woo! Oh yeah!
Great. I moderated the very first convention she ever attended. It was an Aliens reunion in Calgary, Canada. And so I introduced, you know, the Marines came out first, Hudson and all those guys, and then the last person was Katee, so she's sitting right next to me. And I remember I was fanboying like crazy. Like she had this beautiful dress on, she's wearing these heels, and I remember thinking, I could touch her ankle right now. Like a total weirdo, right? Because Sigourney was sitting next to me. Yeah, I was like, I could touch her ankle. I was just starstruck with her. She's so amazing. So if you have her, I would listen in a heartbeat. So
Jonathan's nothing.
I'm not gonna listen to Jonathan, but I would listen to Sigourney Weaver. No, just kidding. I do want to check out your podcast though. How long have you been doing it?
Like a year.
1 year.
And if you like sci-fi, you'll like the podcast because that's how I find people, is I corner them at a convention and I'm like, will you do my podcast? And if they say no, I don't talk to them again.
Well, I'm gonna say in advance, I will do your podcast.
Oh, there you go.
All right.
Another life.
What?
Another life.
Another life. I don't know what
Another Life. It's a show that I did on Netflix.
Oh, okay. Talk about that, please.
Yes. So Another Life was a show that I produced, I executive produced, and
Your EP on it then?
yeah.
Well, please, share.
I was in on the pitch at Netflix, the sale, the creation, the whole deal.
Casting, everything.
Everything, the entire thing. And I loved it so much. And you know, it was what I wanted it to be, and aspects of what it was did not line up. You know, I wanted it to be a touch more grounded than it was. But I loved it. I always wanted it to be like nostalgic sci-fi. You know, I constantly said to people when they were like, it's just like, I don't expect you to do it. Like, I expect you to do like Battlestar Galactica. It doesn't make any sense. None of this is really based in science. And I was like, yeah, not everything needs to be like a metaphor for the human condition. Sometimes we just want shit to blow up. You know what I mean? It looks cool. Like, I don't know what it would look like to see a nervous system pop out of somebody's body and have it crawl across the floor. That sounds cool, let's do that. So I loved it, I loved it, I loved it. And I feel like we found what the show was in season 2. Like, we found all the things that didn't work in season 1, and we really honed it for season 2, and then Netflix canceled it, which is what they always do.
I love it.
So, thank you. It was a really fun show, and I loved where it was going. So.
Okay, this is kind of a follow-up question in a way. It says, going forward, what excites you the most? Acting, directing, or producing? This is from George Robertson.
Directing is something that I never wanted to do because I don't like actors enough.
You're just so honest. This is just, I love this.
They're so whiny. Myself included, you guys. I mean, I'm not taking myself out of that. I'm one of them. There's only room for one in a family. But I find myself, as I get older, realizing that I see story now, and I see how to tell a compelling story, and I can, especially working on Another Life with the younger cast, I worked with them so much to get performances. You know, I really loved working with them. And I found myself wanting to do it, but directing it would be starting all over again in this industry, and with 2 little kids, I just don't have the time to do that. I would fail, and I know that, and so I'm sort of laying the groundwork to want to direct at some point. I can see myself do that.
So you do it too?
But not for a while. Like I said, I need to wait until my babies are a little bit older where I can commit to being gone more.
Well, I mean, in a way, with your own podcast, you are directing that podcast, so you're doing a little bit of that already. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
And in terms of kids, are you guys, is this it? Or are you planning on keep on going?
I am so too old to have babies anymore.
Okay, all right.
It's like, you know, I have done the math on how old I'll be when they leave home.
Yeah.
No. No.
They never leave.
Oh, thank God. No, but like sort of thank God, but like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Your hair looks great, I hope you win.
Right. Don't let the door hit you on your head on the way out, baby.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's why my husband's 10 years younger than me. Praise Jesus. Because he will have to do it.
Is that why you selected a younger man? Because you knew that you could pass the torch on to him?
I did.
Have him do all the child rearing?
I did.
Good for you.
Smart, tall, good looking, 10 years younger.
Love that. Wow.
Yeah.
Katee Sackhoff for president, my gosh. Okay, what do you think happened to Starbuck at the end of the final episode of BSG from Meredith and Michael? What happened?
So, I don't know. But the good news is, Ron Moore is coming on the podcast, and I'm going to ask him.
You got Ron coming on?
I do.
Will you please tell Ron I said hello, and I miss him, please?
I will. The question I get asked the most is, what was Starbuck? And I always say, what was she? And I always say, I don't know, because I never asked. I didn't ask. I just sort of like...
You came to work, did your lines, and went home.
Well, I continued to play what was on the page.
Yes.
And I fully leaned into what she was saying, not who... So I guess this is a weird way of saying this. Starbuck's task at the end of the show, she was not Starbuck anymore. And her task was to get humanity to follow her. And the only way to do that was to be Starbuck.
Mm-hmm.
I needed to portray her as Starbuck, not something pretending to be Starbuck. She had to be Starbuck. And so, as crazy as the story started to get, and as odd as Starbuck started to act, I needed to continue to play her as if she thought she was Starbuck.
Okay.
So I never asked what she was, because I just thought, she's Starbuck.
And you can ask this to
And
Ron
I will ask
on your
him.
podcast.
Yes.
He has a couple of acting heavyweights, Mary McDonnell, Edward James Olmos. What was it like working with those 2 actors in the beginning?
It's amazing. I mean, it was absolutely amazing. You know, it was so weird though, because we just come off of a show with Richard Dreyfuss, like right before that. And that show, I worked with Richard Dreyfuss, Marcia Gay Harden right after she won her Oscar, Peter O'Toole, Eli Wallach, Ann Johnston. Like it was like
Heavyweight after heavyweight.
Yeah, and so I got to Battlestar, and I was like, I just thought this was normal to like go to work at 21 and work with Oscar nominees. Like, so I was not, you know, my audition for Richard Dreyfuss, God bless youth, because I was in the room with him for my final audition. I was like 20 years old, and they said, "Are you nervous to like work with Richard?" Because he was getting ready to come in, and I went, "The guy from Jaws? No." You know, you can't bring them down to your level.
Yeah.
They're not intimidated. You know what I mean?
love that.
Yeah. So I learned so much from working with them, and I think I learned more about how to be a good person.
Yeah.
More so, you know. I think I moved away from home when I was very young. I was 18, like most kids, but I was 18 and going to work every day. I didn't go to school, which this is not uncommon, but that's what I did, and I think I still needed rearing, you know? I was not an adult, I was still a kid, living in a very adult world, and I was very protected and sheltered by the people that I worked with, and I was grateful for that because I was so young. And I think I look back now as like a mom and someone who's in their 40s, and I think to myself, not that I'm old, but I think to myself, oh my God, I was a baby. I am so lucky that I didn't get into trouble, you know? But it was because I was always surrounded by people that didn't allow me to get into trouble.
Because here's a totally random Richard Dreyfuss story. I was sitting in my freshman world politics class at UCLA, and my Professor Spiegel said, "Today, we're going to debate all the different areas of like the conflicts in the world, different areas of the world, and today my good friend Richard Dreyfuss will come up here," and he gets up from behind me and walks on stage, and they start debating what's happening in the Middle East, what's happening in Russia, and that's when I knew that Richard Dreyfuss wasn't just an actor, but he's quite an intelligent human being.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah, no, he's really smart. He gave me a list of movies to watch when he found out that I didn't enjoy black and white movies.
What?
He gave me a list of movies to watch, and he would not work with me on Monday morning if I hadn't watched one of them over the weekend.
Do you still have that list?
No, but I do have a note that he left in my trailer on day one that said, "Katee, I knew you were special the moment you walked into the room. Love, Richard."
Aww.
Yeah.
Did you cry when you saw that? I'm about to cry now, but did you have a bit of a tear?
No, because I was a kid.
And it's also, he's the Jaws guy, too.
This is that blissful ignorance of youth,
Yes,
you know?
it
Like,
is.
I don't think these things, I mean, for me anyway, I'm sure many children are different, but like, for me, I think looking back on my career and moments like that bring a tear to my eye now because I realize how rare that was, you know? But at the time, I didn't know any better. I was just like,
You were an exuberant youth who didn't
all right,
know
old
anything.
man.
Yeah. All right, Jaws guy. Okay, if Starbuck from Battlestar Galactica and Doll from Riddick were to meet, would they be friends or foes? Carrie from San Antonio.
No, they would hate each other. No. You know, most of the characters I play do not play nice in the sandbox. Especially with other women. They just don't.
Okay. Well, do you have a dream role that you would like to do? A dream role? Other than Captain of Starship.
I mean, Star Trek.
It is.
I want to play a damn superhero in Marvel.
Okay. I can see that.
I want
Do you have a specific superhero that you're...
No!
Just,
One that doesn't die.
that's good criteria. One that doesn't die. Okay.
Because, like, as long as you're alive, you can come back.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
But see, but this is the beauty of the world of Star Trek. You can die and come back. So I think you should focus on
Well,
Star
that's
Trek.
the beauty of Star Wars, too.
That's right. You can have deaths and...
You can have deaths and come back. You guys, I get so much crap for believing Dave Filoni when he told me that Luke Skywalker was Plo Koon. People still give me crap about this. And I talk about this on the podcast all the time, because like, you don't get it. Like, Dave Filoni looked me in the eye and said, it's Bo-Katan. And I went, well, he's dead. But okay. Okay. Like, I believed him because, like, people come back, you know?
All right. What is the best word of advice that someone has given you, a mentor, parent, whatever, throughout your life? Just curious.
Oh my God. My dad, there's two of them, and I sort of like live by these, but my dad used to always say, stop taking yourself so seriously. My dad said that all the time to me. Stop taking yourself so seriously, Katie, like just let it go. And then the other one is that expectation is the death of joy. I think sometimes, for myself anyway, I would get it in my head what I wanted something to look like. I'm a control freak and I'm a planner. My ADHD makes me plan everything. And if something doesn't go the way that I planned it, I get really frustrated.
Yeah.
So I remind myself all the time that life is not black and white. Life is what happens in between the planning. And the more expectation you have, the more disappointed you're going to get and the more you're going to miss out on life.
Yeah.
Because sometimes life throws a curveball that changes your life exponentially, and you might miss it if you don't open your eyes and, you know, let it lead you.
I agree.
So,
yeah, you gotta follow those words of wisdom from Frozen. Let it go. You know?
Let it go.
Yeah.
Let it go. The cold doesn't bother me anyway.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being here. These fans love you, clearly.